Mormon Fools, the Paradox of Wisdom and Power. Recently I was reading in 2nd Nephi and came to a part in Jacob's writings that reminded me of one of my favorite YouTube videos of all time, from YouTuber Nathaniel Drew. I've really enjoyed watching Nathaniel's journey in life, and he inspires me with many of his insights. I want to show some clips from this video and talk about how they compare to my own journey in life. Here's how Nathaniel starts out.
There's something inside of me that I've struggled with for a long time. I'm addicted to validation. I care about what people think. I want people to like what I say and like who I am. There have been periods of my own life where I've based my own sense of my own value off of what other people think. And I think I care so much about this topic because I'm terrified of the flip side. I am terrified of humiliation, of ridicule, and of rejection. I don't like that I operate this way. The part of me that is afraid is the part of me that wants to control what other people think of me, but I know that's not possible. I know that's not how any of this works. I still struggle with this. For much of my life, I've looked at things in a sort of binary optic. There's winning and losing. There's right and wrong. There's good and bad. We see this in sports. Somebody has to win. Same for elections. We're taught this in school and religious texts. We tell this to ourselves and each other. And I see the validation attached to winning, to being right, to being good. And I often judge myself against that standard. And I judge myself very harshly because I'm not always winning. I'm not always right. I'm not always good. I mess up a lot and I'm very unkind with myself when I do.
There's so much in what Nathaniel says here that echoes my own experiences, and maybe the experiences of many of us. A lot of us also care quite a bit about what people think of us, and we want to be right, and we want to be good. But we also can be terrified of humiliation, of ridicule, and rejection, because we know inside that we aren't always right, and we aren't always good. Life is challenging. It's hard for me to really figure out what life is about sometimes, like what I'm here for, and what I'm supposed to do. It's hard to find meaning, to know who's telling the truth, and to know which road to take. Much of my life I've taken the road given to me by others. But what if they're not right? Where am I supposed to go? How am I supposed to live? Especially when it seems like the wise and the important and the powerful people are leading me in directions so different from what seemed right.
But there is an idea that helps me navigate this. In culture, throughout history, you find something a little bit bizarre. Despite coming from different time periods and different civilizations, there are recurring characters. And these characters, fictional characters, stories that are told, are models for people, for behavior. The famous Swiss psychiatrist Jung had a name for this. He called them archetypes. And his theory of archetypes stated that this was like innate human knowledge that was passed down from our ancestors. Why am I talking about archetypes? Well, an archetype is a set of ideas, an approach to life, if you will. And there's one archetype that I'm obsessed with lately. It's an archetype that speaks to me and that I think holds great wisdom, and that archetype is the fool. Allow me to explain. I think for most people, the immediate association with the fool is negative. It's this sort of stupid character. You know, to act foolishly is to act in a way that is unwise with bad judgment. But it isn't that simple. That's one interpretation of the fool. Quickly though, my perspective on the fool changed as I began to dig a little bit deeper. The fool is commonly depicted as a beggar or a vagabond, very few possessions. It's neither negative nor positive. It's a blank slate. It represents beginnings, unrealized potential. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. That's Shakespeare, and it's one of my favorite quotes, I think, of all time. The character that says that line is Touchstone. He's the court jester. The wise man knows himself to be a fool. Basically, the insinuation there is that maybe we're all fools.
Is it possible that we're all fools? Maybe so. What an interesting idea. Quote, "The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool." Unquote. We're surrounded by, led by, bombarded by people who are all self-appointed wise men. They're everywhere, in politics and religion, at the workplace, and in the family. It seems that no matter where I look, there's someone who believes they are over others and over me. It seems to be a natural tendency in men, once they think they know or are good at something, to set themselves up first as the wise sage, then as the authority, then as the leader, and finally as the ruler. But I don't think that's how our reality is supposed to work. I don't think that's how God intended it to be. I don't think we are supposed to be people over others. Maybe God, like Shakespeare, wants us to realize that in reality, we're all just fools. The part in the Book of Mormon that intrigued me this week is where Jacob writes, "Oh, the vainness and the frailties and the foolishness of men! When they are learned, they think they are wise, and they hearken not unto the counsel of God, for they set it aside, supposing they know of themselves. Wherefore, their wisdom is foolishness, and it profiteth them not, and they shall perish." And then, "The wise and the learned, and they that are rich, who are puffed up because of their learning, and their wisdom and their riches, yea, they are they whom the Lord despiseth. And say they shall cast these things away, and consider themselves fools before God, and come down into the depths of humility, he will not open unto them." What does this say about the wise sage, the authority figure, the leader, and the ruler? Except they cast these things away, they cannot be saved. That is very sobering news. Who then can be saved? Well, only the fool. Only the person who comes down in the depths of humility and considers himself a fool before God, and realizes he isn't better than anyone else, that he doesn't have power or authority, that he must be equal. In my classes at school, I like to tell my students that they need to find answers for themselves, not from the so-called experts, and certainly not from me, because we're all like a bunch of toddlers in a sandbox. And who am I, a metaphorical 2.5-year-old toddler, to tell these other 2-year-old toddlers of my wisdom and great authority? Maybe the point of life for me is to realize that I am a fool, and so to put my trust in Christ and embrace life as a fool's journey.
Life is a fool's journey, an experience that a person must incorporate to realize their potential, to realize their wholeness. In this way, the fool is actually a hero, and the fool makes for an ideal hero because they're unafraid to aim high, to face the unknown, to try new things, and therefore they are deserving of change. In the most common depiction of this character in a tarot deck, it's this young man who's standing at the edge of a cliff, and only a fool would go over that cliff, right? Only a fool would embark on the journey if they knew really what that contained, if they knew what was in store for them, and yet they go for it anyway. It is through attempting things and through failure that the fool gains experience. To me, the fool's a reminder of the extraordinary transformational quality of curiosity. Curiosity is not just for the naive, it's powerful. Life actually doesn't just have to be about success and failure. It can simply be a series of experiences to be had. The fool doesn't let these things stop them from going on their journey. And there's tremendous weight that is lifted off my shoulders when I allow myself to fail. It is this fear of failure, I think, that paralyzes me. It is this thing that constricts me, that makes my world smaller. I'm afraid to be a fool. I'm afraid to let myself be ridiculed, to make mistakes. I'm afraid to be misunderstood, but we all feel misunderstood sometimes. We're all fools. When you embrace that, the world opens up in such a spectacular way. I wear myself out by worrying so much what other people think, but the fool is a reminder that there's another way. The fool is not afraid of being seen as silly or stupid or to just simply be misunderstood. The inner fool is a liberator because he does not allow you to take yourself so seriously. I've been looking for answers my entire life. And to be honest with you, if anything, it just feels like I have more questions than ever. I think our only choice is to do as the fool does and take each day as it comes, and to treat life as one long game. We may all be addicted to validation. I know I certainly am, but I still aim not to let that deter me from embarking on the journey that I'm meant to go on. That, I think, is what it truly means to be the fool.
Change, curiosity, liberation. These are the results of embracing life as a fool. It is so liberating to realize that I know nothing. I don't have to defend my position. I don't have to be the same person 2 days in a row. I don't have to hold on to pride or be defensive or be narrow-minded. I can be truly, utterly, and totally free just by realizing the fact that I am a fool. And as a fool, I realize that only Christ has the answers. Only His words hold the truth to how I should live. And so when someone else tries to tell me how to live or what to do, I already know that they have no authority, no power, and no more wisdom than I do, or than a 2-year-old child does. When someone tells me that only through them or their church or their politics I can be saved, I already know it's not true. They're just a fool trying to lead other fools. And when someone tells me to be quiet, or that I can't speak, or ask, or act for myself. I already know that their wisdom is foolishness, their authority is a mirage, and their power is only as valid as I allow it to be, which is nothing. But what of those who ridicule this path, the path of humility and freedom? Moroni faced a similar question many years ago, and he wrote of the true fools. In Ether, he said, I said unto Jesus, Lord, the Gentiles will mock at our weakness. And when I had said this, the Lord spake unto me, saying, True fools mock, but they shall mourn. And my grace is sufficient for the meek, that they shall take no advantage of your weakness. Christ is in charge. To him, as with Shakespeare, the true fools are those who think they are wise and who mock others. But the meek, those who realize they are fools, are the only ones who attain wisdom, the wisdom of the words and the way of Christ. For me, choosing to not follow the wisdom of men and choosing not to recognize their authority or their self-proclaimed power, it hasn't always been easy. It has caused me some of the darkest, most painful moments in my life. I've been scorned, punished, and cast out. But I've also been set free. Nathaniel Drew gives this beautiful tribute to everyone who walks the thorny path of the fool.
The courage to be disliked. A message to anyone struggling under the weight of criticism. You will be disliked. Try as you might, they will never be pleased. The more you bend, the more they shall ask for, until there is none of you left. Where then do you find the strength to bear their knives, their indignation and fury, their disappointment? How can you stand on your own 2 feet as they call you names? Their actions may spark rage or sadness or fear in your heart. Do not let this stop you from putting down the shield. Do not defend yourself or fight back, no matter how much you ache for it. Be naked so that the blinding light of your North Star may shine on your skin. Do not harden your heart. Your heart needs no protection, no matter how much they claim to dislike you. Let them discredit you, misconstrue your words, spit on your name. Be the fool. Their words say nothing of who you are or where you will go. A beautiful adventure awaits you, so long as you open yourself up more and more until you hand even the angriest amongst them the dagger that might kill you. Only then will you find that they cannot do what they want to you if you bare your soul. The house may burn, but you will be free.
This park speaks so powerful to me. Like Nathaniel, I have also been hurt in the house of those who I thought were my friends. I was persecuted for 2 years by a vengeful school principal for refusing to bend to her will during the pandemic and get the vaccine. Later, I was punished repeatedly by the administration for refusing to sacrifice my morals in my treatment of my beloved students. And later still, I was metaphorically cast into hell by my church leaders, my friends, and even some of my own family for choosing to listen to and follow the simple words of Christ over the self-proclaimed LDS prophets. By being true to myself, I handed all of these people the knives to stab me with. By choosing the path of the fool and bearing my soul to the world, I took down my shield and I opened my heart to be wounded. And so it was wounded. Through it all, I've come to believe that the fool's path is actually Christ's path. He himself was thought a fool by his family, his church, and his community. As Abinadi said, Christ was despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. He had no form nor comeliness that we should desire him, and so we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. His path was not one of popularity or ease, and I think it was his very path that Christ was trying to teach the people of the Book of Mormon when he said, Blessed are they that mourn. Blessed are they who are persecuted for my name's sake. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the pure in heart. Yea, blessed are all they who do hunger and thirst after righteousness. He wasn't teaching them or us to be anything different than he already is. Today, looking back along my own path of the last several years, I realized that even though I was wounded by those I thought were my friends, and though my path became lonely for a time, I've arrived at a point where I've never been more happy or felt more free. Now I feel liberated to follow Christ wherever I find him and to go wherever he leads me. I feel free to love others without reservation and without judgment. I'm finally free to think, to ask, to understand, to see, and to believe. And on Christ's true path, I'm free to share. How important it is to share. Those who share the fool's path, the true path of Christ, are those I think it is talking about in the Book of Mormon when over and over it says, "How beautiful upon the mountains shall they be." Yea, whoso shall publish peace, yea, tidings of great joy, that bringeth good tidings of good, that publisheth salvation, that seek to bring forth my Zion at that day, and saith unto Zion, Thy God reigneth. Yea, how beautiful upon the mountains shall they be. It's not easy to share the Christ of the Book of Mormon. It's not easy to choose to be the fool in a society and world where we are oppressed by the wise. Of all people, I think Jesus most understood this, and he said, Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my name's sake. For ye shall have great joy, and be exceedingly glad, for great shall be your reward in heaven. I close my eyes and try to picture him saying those words, and then I can believe that he knows and loves all of those who have tried to walk his path, who are trying to publish peace and who are punished for it. I think of those who have been instrumental in pointing me to a better way. Rob Fotheringham, Mark Curtis, Justin and Rebecca Griffin, Michael Barrett, and so many more. To all of you who I admire that are in this post-LDS but deeply Mormon space, I say with Abinadi, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of those who shall hereafter publish peace, yea, from this time henceforth and forever. Yea, blessed are the fools.